my picture out the window. Tell MCI to cut the phone poles. Break my lease so I can move. Cause you a bugaboo, a bugaboo. I wanna put your number on the call block. LAOL, make my email stop. Cause you a bugaboo. You bugging what you bugging, who you bugging me. And don't you see it ain't cool.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Jessica Marie and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, I just want to say welcome. This is a channel where we grow and heal together. If you guys are returning, I just want to say hey y'all, thank you so much for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and click that notification bell. That way any video that I do upload, you guys will be the first to see it. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. All right, y'all, so how are you guys doing today? I know it's been a while since I've posted a video and I just needed some time to myself and really just collect my thoughts, rest, and just take care of my mental, my mental health, my mental well-being. And that definitely is a part of self-care. I probably will do a video on, just taking care of yourself mentally. But we'll go ahead and we'll see. So today's video, I am going to be talking about my move to Charlotte and how God moved me to Charlotte. And you guys, I just want to say really quickly, just a quick disclaimer, please excuse my face. I have been having, I had a gum infection and my face was swollen and it's still a little swollen, as you guys can kind of see. So just please ignore that. If you kind of see me smiling and it looks kind of weird, that's why. So yeah. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about my move to Charlotte, how it all began, and how I got here. It's been 2.5 years since I have been here in Charlotte, and it went very, very quickly. It went very fast. And I still can't believe I'm even here. Sometimes I'm just like, wow, like, God, you blew my mind away, literally. So let's go ahead and get started with the story. Okay, y'all, so this started back in 2020. We were in the pandemic, and I was residing in Pittsburgh. That's where I'm originally from. And I remember praying and asking God for me to move. I kind of felt a shift coming. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt some shift, like God was going to take me from one place to another. I just didn't know in what, shape or form it was going to be. So kind of give you a backstory on why I chose North Carolina. A few years back from 2020, so this would be 2016, my uncle had got married in Cary, North Carolina, and they had a beautiful, beautiful wedding, and it just felt like home when I came down. I always knew I was going to move from Pittsburgh. That was a definite goal of mine. I just didn't know when. And, there was a lot of other cities that I thought was going to be my home, but it just felt different when I visited North Carolina. Excuse me, adjusting myself. So yeah, that was August of 2016. And we were in like the Cary, Raleigh area, and it was just absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And I just knew that this was the place that I was going to be. So from 2016 to 2020, I was praying and I was just set on, I'm going to move to North Carolina. I'm going to move to North Carolina. I knew what it was, but I wanted to move to Durham, Raleigh area. So my job that I'm currently in now, it's a managed care organization. So it's a big company and they have different plans, health plans throughout the entire United States and even overseas. So I remember I was looking for jobs in North Carolina, but in the Raleigh area, and at the time they had nothing. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I remember, fast forward to August of 2020, when I was saying that I felt like there was a shift coming. I just remember at that time, I was in a relationship that I'll just say I was in a relationship. I was I was in a relationship that I was trying to still hold on to, but I knew in my heart that we grew apart. But you know, when you love somebody, it's just like, oh. And literally August of 2020, I feel like that was just literally like the pivotal moment of now you need to focus on you. So at that time I knew like, okay, we're not going anywhere, and it's, you know, it's showing that you and I, like, we're not, at that time I knew like, okay, this isn't going to work. So I need to focus on me. Literally, maybe like a week later, I remember I just felt this burning sensation. And I call it a burning sensation, and it wasn't physically, but it was like in my spirit. And I'm just like, why do I have this strong desire to move? I didn't understand why, but I just was just like, I want to move. My plan was to move 5 years to North Carolina. I never thought that I was going to be making the steps to move within a few months from August in 2021. Like, I just did not see that coming. So this particular day, I can't remember the date, but I know it was the month of August. And I just remember my friends and I, we were going to go to brunch. So we're like, let's go to brunch. So I'm already feeling, like I said, this firing feeling of me going to North Carolina. And I remember as we were going to brunch, I seen like 4 or 5 license plates that was from North Carolina. And I'm like, what in the world? You know? So I remember silently, and I wasn't driving, my friend Brittany was driving. And I remember, you know, I'm just like, okay, Lord, like, I don't know if this is you showing me a sign, but can you show me another sign? So, you know, we go to the brunch spot. We're all having, you know, lunch and stuff like that. We're eating, catching up because, like I said, it's the pandemic. We haven't seen each other. So it's kind of nice to just kind of get out and finally, you know, just kind of interact with one another outside of being on the phone. And my friend, Mahogany, she says, you know, she wants to move to North Carolina. And my eyebrow went up. I'm like, huh? And she's like, you know, I want to move to North Carolina, but I want to move to Charlotte. And I was just like, I want to move to North Carolina too, but I want to move to the Raleigh-Durham area. And she was telling me that she was getting ready to go to Charlotte, I think like the following month. And I had asked her, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I go to Charlotte with you? So that way I can just kind of see, you know, start looking and things like that with you. She said, sure. So I remember I felt like, okay, I think that's confirmation. So I'm like, wait a minute, Lord, like, I'm going to ask you again. So I got home and I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm asking you, is this you? I've seen the license plates. I've seen, you know, my friend out of the blue just said she's wanting to move to North Carolina. Can I have another sign? Y'all. The next day, I happened to open up my LinkedIn, and I haven't even been on LinkedIn for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks by then. And when I opened it up, the first thing that popped up was that there was going to be a East Coast headquarters building in Charlotte, North Carolina with my job. And there was going to be like over 3,000 jobs opening. It's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny because I'm just like, what? So I'm like, all right. Clearly, God is showing me like he's about to move me to North Carolina. But like I said, I was just like, just because he shows you something doesn't mean it's going to be right there and then. You know, he could have been like, all right, I'm going to prepare you because in 2 years from now, we're going to be moving to North Carolina. Or 5 years, or what have you. Never in my mind did I think that I literally was going to be moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. So when I see that, I'm just like, okay, well, you know, I'm wondering if I can work remote because at the time we were working remote. And, you know, I was still set on moving to Raleigh. So then I'm like, all right, this definitely is God at this point. You know, he's answering my prayers. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, well, whatever job's for me, you show me. So I remember over the course of 2 weeks, I was like looking, and all I saw was like senior level jobs that I knew I wasn't going to be qualified for or anything like that. So I was kind of getting discouraged, and I'm just like, okay, like when are they going to start up, like hiring for people like me that aren't in that high level status just yet. So then I do have a spiritual mom, and I remember calling her, and I was telling her like, I think God is telling me, well, I know God is shifting me, and I feel like he is telling me that I need to move to North Carolina. I don't know why, I don't know where, I don't know when, but can you pray over me and can we kind of discuss this? And she's just like, okay, and I trust my spiritual mom. She is the real deal. She's an elder of the church. She prophesies, and a lot of the things that she prophesies to me have came to pass. So this is my spiritual mama, okay? And she was just like, you know what? We need to start praying for you for a church. We need you to find a church home down there. And I'm like, okay. So we prayed for a church. Literally the next day, y'all, from that prayer, I get a text message. No, I get a DM from Instagram from my friend. And she sends me this singles conference from this church that they were having. And I'm like, oh, I never, I didn't know them or whatever. So I go on their page. Y'all, this church is located in Charlotte. Now, you cannot tell me that was not God. Y'all, like I said, you couldn't tell me that wasn't God, literally. There's just no way. There's no coincidence and happenstance. Like, that was God, literally. So I reached out to my friend. I'm like, hey, do you know these, who are these pastors? And they're like, oh, they're from Richmond, and they, used to go to my church, and they recently moved about a year or two ago to Charlotte, and God was telling them to move as well. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I started, streaming them, and I'm like, wow, it's a good church. One of the things that I prayed for was going to a younger church with people who are around my age, because my church, don't get me wrong, I grew up in my church in Pittsburgh, but everyone is a bit, they're older. And I just wanted to be around like-minded individuals who were my age, in my age range. And that's exactly what it was. So I end up, watching them and streaming them online, of course, because like I said, we were still in the pandemic. And then I asked for prayer, and one of the girls from the prayer team ended up reaching out to me, praying over me. And then we ended up having a conversation, and I was telling her that, I feel like God is moving me here. She's like, wow, that's great. She told me about her story, about her also moving from, I think she's from Virginia as well, to Charlotte, and they moved not too long ago either at that time. So I'm like, wow, like, okay, God, like, this is really happening. You're really moving me here. And so she was telling me about the areas that I can go, nice areas, safe areas. So I started doing my research and things like that. At my job, I'm able to transfer. So I was able to, move across states. I just have to apply for either being corporate or for another health plan. So I was at the health plan at PA, Pennsylvania. I was in a health plan in Pennsylvania, and I needed to try to apply for positions in North Carolina. And at the health plan, nothing really honestly opened up. So I was just like, okay. So I'm like, okay, Lord, and me, I am still learning to be patient and to be still when God tells me to do something. It's very difficult. I can be a little impatient and stubborn as well, but I'm definitely working on that. And, walking with Christ and having faith is not easy. It's not easy. It may look easy, but it's not easy. But when you really, truly pray, have a relationship with him, you go to church, those things will get easier. It's not easy, but it will get easier. I will say that, at least for me. So I'm, at this time I'm getting a little frustrated. I'm just like, I don't see no jobs. Like, it is what it is, whatever. So I kind of forgot about it. And on my LinkedIn, I had put it to where it shows me like notifications with jobs. And there was a job that came about that I saw, and I'm like, I think I might like this, and I think I'll be able to, be a fit. So I end up reaching out to the hiring manager, who was our boss, and just asked some questions. And then the rest, honestly, was history. Y'all, I applied, I want to say on a Monday, and the following Tuesday, I was hired. It went so quickly. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm thinking they have to, apply, like they have to hire other people, it's a process. And it just happened so quickly. And I was just kind of like, what the heck? And they were like, okay, well, you're going to have to move to Charlotte, of course. And the position will be inside, so we will be going back into the office. So we're gonna need you to be here no later than May 31st of 2021. At this time, I want to say it was October of 2020. So I'm like, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 7 months. I'm like, 7 months? I mean, I guess 7 months is a good amount of time, but I was just like, oh my. It's not like I was moving state, like within the state. I'm moving to a whole new state. So I'm just like, that I need time to save. I need time to look, go down there, start looking at apartments. Like, I need time to start just figuring out what I need to do. So, of course, there were stresses and stuff with that as well. So I'm gonna say, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, so once I got the job, I was just ecstatic. I was happy, and I remember telling my family members that I'm moving to Charlotte, and my peers, and there's people who were happy for me. People were not so happy for me. And then there was people that were just like, I want you to stay, which I understand, which is cool, but I had to do what was best for me. And I felt like God was taking me into a new season. This was the shift that I was feeling. He's moving me out from my comfort zone and everything that I know. And I'm just like, And I'm just like, I'm going to do this, So I started the position December of 2021. No. December of 2020, I started the position, and the good thing is a lot of us was moving to Charlotte. So the team, literally, I would say at least 90% of the team moved, even my director. People were moving from Texas and Florida, New York, South Carolina, and I want to say maybe 2 or 3 people were actually from North Carolina. So it was definitely nice, to know that I wasn't alone. And I got to build a rapport with my coworkers, because I'm just like, hey, I'm moving by myself, you're moving by myself. And we literally all became like family. And I remember praying, and I'm like, okay, Lord, because I was nervous. Let me tell you something. I was definitely nervous. And I want y'all to keep in mind, I've never actually been to Charlotte. I've been to Raleigh. I've never been to Charlotte. So when I moved, it literally was in blind faith. And I remember just praying, and I'm asking God, I'm just saying, Lord, please only surround me with people who have my best interest at heart. People who are genuine, people who will look out for me, people who I can consider and grow a beautiful friendship, family, familyship with. And I did. And literally my circle now they're like family, and they're all genuine, and they have my best interests at heart, as well as I do. We pray for one another, and I'm just so blessed, y'all. So blessed. And I just honestly never thought that I was going to move to a new state that quickly. But I literally was just like, okay, God, like, if this is you, A, B, C, D. So then getting ready to move. So I pack up my apartment that I had in Pittsburgh. And oh, Lord, I don't really want to get into the details, but I'll just say the moving process was just a whole hot mess. I would just say that. Tips that I would say if you are getting ready to move or want to move, honestly, would be research, not just where you're going to be moving to, but also the moving company. I did do research, but also I was like kind of in a time manner. So I was just like, I need to get somebody. And what's crazy is they had good reviews. It's just the vendor that they use wasn't so good. And some of my furniture did get damaged, but it was fixable, and I was able to, I had to buy new furniture as far as like couches. The furniture that I had originally, I end up, letting my mom keep, which was fine. But I was in a new state. It's just a new apartment, which was upgraded from what I had before. I didn't have stainless steel appliances. So I was just grateful. And I'm like, this is perfect. And it's in a good area just for me. It's just me. And I have been honestly just still in awe with just how God has been moving. He continues to blow me away. And now that I'm looking back, I'm getting ready to move really soon out of this apartment. I just figure, why not tell your story about how you moved to Charlotte and it was in blind faith. And when I came down to look at apartments, it just felt like it was home. I just knew it was it. I knew me moving to Charlotte was my home. When I came down March of 2021 and I was looking at apartments, I came down with my best friend and my mom, and it was home. It was home. I just knew that this was it. And I knew that God had me. I knew that he was going to place me where he wanted me to. And, I got to visit the church, and it's very, very nice. I've grown so much as a person individually, spiritually. And I know that sometimes it can be scary. And I'm not going to sit there and act like I wasn't scared at all, because I was. But I remember just staying true to Ephesians 3:20 and Romans 8:28, and just trusting God. I know he would never steer me wrong, ever. And my faith definitely increased. My faith definitely wavered through ups and downs. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But I'm just so grateful. So if you guys, have any similar stories where you feel like God has moved you to a new place, please share your stories in the comment box. And if you guys want to know anything else about just how God moved in my life, let me know. If you have any topics and stuff that you guys want to hear, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was kind of long, but literally, if God is telling you to do something, he's telling you to move, do it, because there's definitely a blessing on the other side of your obedience. And all you gotta do is just be obedient. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. And I will see you guys soon.